CBS News chief legal correspondent Jan Crawford. She is in our Washington bureau. Jan, good morning to you as we get your thoughts here one day later. The Supreme Court seems to be saying basically here we're done talking about abortion. Is that actually the case? Is there reason to believe this is the final word on the federal level?
Yeah, I mean, on the core right to an abortion, absolutely. I mean, the opinion really couldn't be more clear. I mean, this court believes, like a fair number of legal scholars, that Roe versus Wade was basically just made up. It was wrong from the beginning. There's nothing in the Constitution about a right to abortion. And coming in 1973, when a lot of states were starting to liberalize their laws and allow abortion, the court jumped in, short-circuited the political process, and said abortion was legal nationwide. The court says that just inflamed the debate. It's time to return the issue on a right to abortion back to the people's elected representatives in the individual states. What does that mean? I mean, that means that if you want to ban abortion in Mississippi or all those other states that Christina just mentioned that already are, that's fine. There is no constitutional right women have, so there's no role for the Supreme Court to rule on it. There are other issues that the court could take up that are related to abortion access, and I think you are going to see some of those legal challenges play out, like whether states can ban access to abortion pills or whether states can prosecute people for going across state lines to get an abortion. I think you could see some of those in the court, but not on whether or not states can ban or greatly restrict it. That's done.
Jan, Christina Ruffini seemed to suggest, or actually Clarence Thomas did, in fact, go even further than that, suggesting that things like contraception and gay rights might also be impacted later down the line. What are the chances of that actually happening?
I'd say zero. I mean, this court, even in the opinion, said it's hard to say how we could be more clear that those cases are not threatened or cast in doubt. You know, Justice Thomas then wrote that separate opinion where he says, well, I think they, might be, but no one agreed with him. So he's out there on a trip of his own. He's one justice. You had, the other four were like, we don't agree, we're not on board with that. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote a separate opinion himself saying no, no. And so, if states do try to limit access to contraception or limit, gay marriage, that will go back into the courts, and that issue could come back to the Supreme Court. And there's probably 8 justices, setting Thomas aside, that would say those cases, like we said in Dobbs, are not implicated.
Jan, a lot of the polling out there showed that the court is more conservative than Americans even are, specifically when it comes to Roe versus Wade and other issues. Might we now see more calls to reform the court after this decision?
Possibly, and I think that's partly what was driving the Chief Justice's concurring opinion. He worries about things like that as the Chief Justice. As you know, he would have upheld Mississippi's 15-week ban, but he didn't think the court needed to take the next step and overturn Roe versus Wade and a 1992 subsequent case on abortion rights. So he wouldn't join those 5 in overturning Roe. And I know he has been quite concerned that you may see calls to add more justices to the Supreme Court or try to change the makeup of the Supreme Court. I think that was partly what was driving him, kind of his belief that this could hurt his institutional integrity. But I think that's going to be a really hard, tough row to hoe in Congress right now. There's not support right now to change the numbers of justices.
All right, Jan, we'll have to leave it there. A lot more debate on this subject.